Can that ever be justice for the affair partner? In our eyes. My wife's revelation, I went and talked with the affair partner, first time in 20 years. I calmly told him I thought this was a short fling, which was bad enough, but finding out it was 2 years long. I wanted his explanation for how he could do such a thing to anyone, but especially to a close friend like me. He just sat there silent and stared at the floor the entire time. My wife and I are in our 50s. When we were in our 30s we went through a bad patch and she had a physical affair with my best friend, the best man in our wedding. Back then she told me it was only a short fling and she had quickly ended it. We did marriage counseling, cut off all ties to affair partner, and our marriage recovered. I recently found out the affair back then was actually 2 years long. Started well before she had told me it had started and lasted after she told me it ended. So I demanded she finally tell me everything or I was leaving. Discovery Day 2 was much harder on me than Discovery Day 1. Found out they wrote love letters, had sex in our house and in our hotel room when my wife and I were on vacation, etc. She says she didn't tell me everything back then to minimize my pain, but I believe the truth is she knew I would have left had I known how bad this was. And I would have. She also told me that when she ended it the affair partner wanted to continue it indefinitely. And now, knowing the full timeline, realized so many times I was talking with my supposed close friend / her affair partner about my marital issues during those 2 years before I knew it was him and he was counseling / comforting me, telling me just give her space and time. My wife is deeply sorry, as she was after Discovery Day 1, regrets it completely, says she can't believe what she did, claims it was an infatuation not love, though I struggle with that, says she has now told me everything and confirms zero contact since with affair partner and she feels hated toward him feeling he took advantage of her at a weak time in her life and our marriage. And she says she has had no affairs with any others since. After this revelation, I went and talked with the affair partner, first time in 20 years. I, calmly, told him I thought this was a short fling, which was bad enough, but finding out it was 2 years long I wanted his explanation for how he could do such a thing to anyone, but especially to a close friend / me. He just sat there silent and stared at the floor the entire time. This guy is 50-something, still single, lives alone, and I found out he's since had affairs with 2 other married women. I have no doubt he would sneak back with my wife if he could, which she empathetically says she would never ever do. This has been really hard. My wife and I went back to marriage counseling, but I think we will get through this. My question for you all, is there anything a betrayed spouse can do to get not revenge but some type of justice against an affair partner? In my situation, I feel like the affair partner suffered absolutely no consequence for what he did to me. Since I now know the date it really started, I fantasize about hiring a birthday grand-type costumed singer to show up at the affair partner's work on that day with happy anniversary balloons along with a sealed note that says today is the anniversary of the day you had sex with your best friend's wife, just to embarrass him. When this topic came up my wife recently said, "Do you want me to call him up and tell him I think he's an asshole? Would that help you?" I dismissed it but sometimes think about that. We never see the affair partner but my wife and I have many long-time mutual friends with him, we all still live in the same city. All of them know about the affair but he told them it was a one-night stand. I feel like I want to make them aware they are friends with a despicable unremorseful lout who backstabbed a close friend for 2 years with no remorse. Should I do any of those or none? Or is there anything else I might do? Can that ever be justice for the affair partner? In our eyes, update / question. Per previous post, I recently discovered my wife's 20 years ago short fling, as I was told back then, was actually a 2-year-long affair. And I posted about if there can ever be justice against an affair partner, who in my case was also a very close friend of mine at the time, was counseling me about my marital issues during the affair, before I discovered it was him, and is still unrepentant today. 3 quick comments and 2 additional questions. 3 comments. 1. Thank you all for the comments on the above-mentioned post. They are all appreciated. Been carrying this alone and helpful to get others' opinions who have insight on this type of thing. 2. Several asked how I found out this was not a short fling but a 20-year-old affair. I started digitizing boxes of old photos and documents, was not saving everything digitally 20 years ago. Came across some photos and old paper journal entries from a time I thought was before the affair and started to discuss with my wife and could tell she was getting increasingly uncomfortable talking about them, so knew something was up. I kept pulling that thread and next thing I know the whole stupid previous, just a short fling story completely unraveled. Lesson here, as commenters noted, is the importance of wayward spouse not rug sweeping and telling everything. 3. Others asked if I can really trust her now. I will just say, given all we have gone through the past several weeks, if something additional comes up in the future, I am not sure I could ever trust anyone ever again. We've had many very emotional discussions into the wee hours. She clearly understands the ultimatum that this is her final chance to come clean. She has broken down crying several times saying she feels such shame for what she did. She has provided me a detailed timeline of everything start to finish over those 2 years, at points, frankly, too much information. And I will add she is in a very different spiritual place than 20 years ago and she actually went to a priest for a formal confession. Once this new stuff came out, I will never know with 100% certainty but think I just need to trust at this point. 2 additional questions. 1. I did some additional digging and found out the affair partner had either an emotional affair, 100% certainty of that, or physical affair, about 95% on that, with another wife in the mutual friend group back then. I see this mutual friend every month or so and know he is completely clueless about any affair. That affair would have also happened 20 or so years ago, shortly before the affair partner's affair with my wife. If it was me, I would want to know. But, at this point, do you think I should tell him? If it was you, would you want to know? 2. I have thought a lot about the comments recommending that I alert my mutual male friends to what the affair partner really did, soulless and still unrepentant backstabbing me for 2 years and an emotional or physical affair with another friend's wife in the group. Have also reflected on the comments saying a true friend would not maintain a friendship with both me and that scoundrel, even though it happened 20 years ago. After I update my mutual male friends on this new information, do I tell them, out of respect for myself, I can't maintain a friendship with them if they are also friends with the affair partner? I am leaning toward doing that though I have known some of those guys now for 30+ years. Your thoughts?